Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So I just got back from Buckeye Battles and now preparing in the last final stretch of preparing for Southern Assault. Now, Southern Assault is a tournament that I'm actually the tournament organizer for, and this is the 7th year that it's been done, and it's actually probably the last year, unless something weird happens and we decide to start it up again. But basically, there's just so many tournaments in our region that we feel there may actually be too many and maybe a little bit redundant. So anyway, Southern Assault, the last assault. I wanted to I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I mean, I guess in small part to promote it, but it's in 2 weeks. I don't expect to get too many more people to sign up for it. But I wanted to just talk about my some elements of the design of the tournament and some thinking behind it. Because I've posted videos in the past about tournament design and trying to find ways to find a balance between competitive tournament play and promoting the hobby and promoting community and stuff like that. So that's the purpose of this video. Southern Assault's July 22nd, 23rd, here in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina. It's at Atomic Empire, which is kind of famous. It's the store that hosted the Masters. We could actually probably fit 120 people in a tournament in this store. They're very supportive, easy to work with, and I think this tournament. I think right now we have 43 people signed up. Um, there always seems to be last minute drops, so my guesses will be 30, 36-ish people. 4,500 points. No real weird rules for this tournament. Straight out of the book. I did want to try some different things, but what's different for the Mid-Atlantic region may not be different from tournaments in other parts of the country or the world. It's just, there's certain ways that we tend to do things here, and I purposely wanted to try some things different. So, for instance, usually we have a best overall award, which is generalship points comprising most of it, and then your painting score helping out, and then your sportsmanship scores helping out. Well, I believe that sportsmanship is hugely important, but I think the way we figure out sportsmanship winners is just kind of unsatisfactory to me. I mean, we basically just everybody usually almost always everybody gets full points for basic sportsmanship, and then you choose your favorite opponent, and whoever gets the most votes wins. But when that goes towards the overall award and the best club award, there's kind of a conflict of interest. And I'm not sure, I'm not accusing anybody of doing this, I'm not sure anybody would do it, but whether they do it or not, if they do it, I don't necessarily think it's unethical. But you have to admit that if you're at a top table, things are close, are you going to give a best sports award to somebody who's neck and neck with you? Maybe you will, but some people won't, and this design favors people that don't do that. If you play a club mate, do you make sure they're your favorite opponent just to help you win the best in club award? Again, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it's just kind of wonky to me. We've also had some complaints lately and it's not just lately, I've heard complaints ever since I began this hobby about how painting is judged. And more and more it gets to where there's just a painting rubric, and people that may or may not know a whole lot about painting just kind of go down the rubric and check the boxes and go from there. For this one, I wanted to just say, let's just have an award based on generalship. First place award is who gets the most battle points. Now, your points you could have points deducted from your score if you don't have adequate painting or if you have bad sportsmanship. But for the most part, we assume that people follow the rules we've set up for the tournament. 3-color minimum, that kind of stuff. And so there's just a first, second, third place for the generalship. And then we have painting awards separate from that. And I simply just removed the sportsmanship award because I didn't have a good way to measure it. For painting, we're bringing outside people in, professional painters. I'll talk a little bit more about them in just a second. They're the ones that are going to judge painting. And the way they're going to do it is if somebody doesn't meet our 3-color minimum, then they're classified as lead. So we have gold, silver, bronze, and lead. And if you get a lead designation, then you get dinged 20 points, which is the equivalent of, that's the most points you can get in a game, right? So getting dinged 20 points is huge. So what we're trying to do is encourage or discourage people that just build the toughest list they can, don't bother to paint it, you know, throw some tuna cans on the table or something like that. Um, and then, again, this doesn't go towards overall, so we don't need scores for everybody, but we give a, gold, silver, bronze designation just so we can kind of help people see where they are. And then everybody in the gold does get assessed very carefully by these professional painters. And these, of course, are not people who play in the tournament. They don't even play our game. They paint. Um, and then from there is where we get our best paint, first and second place best painting awards. And then we let everybody vote for their favorite army and their favorite model, and those are completely separate awards. So I'm trying to get away from having any kind of conflict of interest in terms of best club awards or wanting your buddy to win the tournament or anything like that. Not that I think it's a huge deal. Again, I'm just trying something different. And then I wanted to introduce more hobby-focused awards, or at least put more emphasis on other awards besides being the absolute best player or best painter. I've been trying to pay careful attention to feedback for previous tournaments, and one feedback that's given is that although Atomic Empire is great in many regards, their terrain over time has slowly dwindled and has slowly kind of gotten beaten up. A lot of people are tired. They kind of put these thick styrofoam pieces of styrofoam down and then put pool table felt on top of it, and so the felt sometimes isn't cut well. It just isn't really that great. So we just told them that we will not be using any of their terrain. So a guy from my club, Mike Sells, great guy, said he volunteered to make terrain so that we have enough terrain for the tournament, made high quality from scratch. And Todd Wyatt, who's a good buddy of mine, he did this already. He has a full set of terrain, and he and Mike are really good friends anyway. So he's kind of bringing his just in case, just to make sure we have enough, and has been talking with Mike about how to do it. So brand new terrain, really nice. We put wooden boards down that are kind of gridded and painted, and they have different themes. So when he makes terrain, he makes a board, and the terrain is all it's either like an ice world or a swamp or whatever, and the board matches the terrain and stuff like that. So this tournament, we said we're going to have nice terrain. Historically, in prizes, there's sometimes some really cool prizes, but usually it's just in terms of store credit, which I think is actually really cool. But we've done it so much that I'm afraid that it's getting a little bit tiresome for some people. So we decided to go a completely different route for prizes, and I will show them to you in just a second. One thing for me is that I hate not being able to finish games, and I hate slow playing to be a tempting strategy. So we're following the lead of some other tournaments and making sure we're giving 2 hours and 45 minutes per game for only a 4,500 point game, which we think should be adequate. And the truth is, as long as it doesn't slow down the tournament, I don't personally much care if people go over a little bit. I'd rather them finish 6 turns. So the only time that's really an issue is when we need to get on to the next game, or we need to finish the tournament and get things wrapped up. I've tried to generate some excitement for it. The one thing I haven't done is a video like this, and I'm doing this obviously way too late to generate attendance at the tournament. But we do plan on publishing lists in advance. I've seen people do that lately, and I just think it's a lot of fun to be able to see what the lists are. I'm not going to do pairings though, just because too many people back out at the last minute, and I don't like the idea of publishing pairings and then changing it on some people. So we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is clump all the players into a handful of groups, maybe 4 or 5 clumpings of players, and everybody can see what their lists are, and then invite people to. If you're attending the tournament, you can predict who do you think will do best in the tournament out of each group. I'm stealing this idea from Chris Mintz, who did it at Battlecry. I thought it was a lot of fun. The way he did it was you could make predictions, and you throw in $1. You could actually make multiple predictions if you just paid for each of them. Or maybe it was $5, whatever it was. It was just a little bit of money. And then whoever is the most accurate wins a prize. And I'll show you that prize in a bit. But I really liked that. It was a lot of fun, not just looking at lists in case you play people, but look at them in terms of who you think is gonna do well. I'm trying to encourage grudge matches. Right now, only 4 or I guess 8 people have taken me up on that. We have 4 grudge matches so far, but we actually have some minor awards for the most epic grudge match. And then on the Friday night before the tournament, for anybody who's willing to come early, we're going to have a chariot race, where it's basically put 2 tables end to end, and well, we have rules and stuff for it, but it's something different, a way to bring people together and do something outside of just playing the game. So on to the prizes, which has been just a lot of work. First off, I love when people have some kind of weapons as prizes. I think it's just the most epic thing. So first place for the generalship is kind of a nice pirate sword, which of course we got engraved. I wish I would have known this the last time. I would have been first place Southern Assault, the last assault. Anyway, second place on the same thing. Instead of a large sword, it's more of a large dagger, but kind of Richard the Lionheart kind of theme to it for second place. Third place is a slightly smaller dagger, still I think very, very epic third place. Then, and I stole this idea from Todd Wyatt, what he did at Memorial Mayhem. But I went out on the internet and found some things that I liked, and then went to a trophy store and had it mounted on something to make an award out of it. So this is the award for Best Painted, and very similar to that is the award for second place Best Painted. And then for the fan favorite, I wanted to get away from that look and feel, so we went something a little more fantasy oriented, a little less medieval. So there's the fan favorite army and the trophy for the fan favorite model. So in case you're wondering, this is where all the money went for the tournament. For best club, you know what I like? I like this idea of giving medals out to everyone. And so we ordered 8 medals. If there's a club with more than 8 people, then they just have to deal with that because that's kind of large. But whether or not somebody contributed to the award, I figure they're part of the club, they get it. If there's an extra one, maybe they can hang this award on their club banner if they have one. Heck, they can hang it in a store if they wanted to. But I kind of like the idea of getting medals for best club. For the chariot race the night before, we made a plaque for the master charioteer, which I thought was kind of fun. And then I went out and found sponsors, and we found a bunch of them. And it's been just really fun working with these guys. So the paint judging is being done by Val and Philip from Dark Buddy Creatives, as well as Caleb from White Metal Games. These are 3 fantastic painters. And if you just want to go look at some eye candy, Dark Bunny Creatives, they mainly operate from a Facebook page. So it's on Facebook, look up Dark Bunny Creatives. White Metal Games, I think most of his social media, he uses his YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and user and then White Metal Games. And they're doing the paint judging, but Dark Buddy Creatives actually went an extra step and are helping out with some of the awards, and I'll show you that in just a second. But really appreciate Caleb and Val and Philip for their willingness to help out. Then we had several miniature companies support us. Tabletop Miniature Solutions, I talk about him all the time on our channel. I think he's doing some great work. I love how he's supporting the Ninth Age. He set us 4 coupons for 25 euros each, which we will throw in with some of the awards. Rotten Factory is breaking my heart. Rotten Factory out of Poland makes some fantastic, really cool models. And he sent me a box of stuff, and he sent it like 7 weeks ago, and I've yet to receive it. And it either got lost in the mail or it's stuck in customs. I'm desperately hoping it shows up before the tournament. And there's a couple other sponsors too. I'll get to them in just a second. Since we're talking about Dark Buddy Creatives, I wanted to talk about some of the other awards we're doing. So the picture here, this is a work in progress picture. But basically, if you're familiar with the U.S. scene when it was Warhammer Fantasy 8th Edition, or even now, you might know Jerry Parsley. He's a good friend of mine. His brother Mike Parsley was a longtime player of the game. Always played Warriors, and always a Khorne themed army. Never really did that well at tournaments. Always had a ton of fun. A fantastic guy. Died unexpectedly about a year ago. So decided to do a Mike Parsley Memorial Award, and Dark Bunny Creatives built this and is painting it, and I'm really excited. Again, this is just a work in progress. This is good to gave me a feel of what it's going to look like, and they haven't finished it quite yet. So we're going to give this out to the to the most thematic army, the army that built around the theme of what that army is supposed to be, which is completely by my subjective opinion, not necessarily for whether or not it's competitive, and also somebody who embodies the spirit of that theme and is out there having fun regardless of whether or not they're winning. So very excited for that award. Really appreciate Dark Bunny Creatives for helping out with it. Shield Wolf Miniatures sent us a couple boxes of their Shield Maidens and 3 characters. And I decided to give this to whoever won the event where you predict who's going to do the best in the tournament. I was going to separate them out, but I like the idea of giving somebody enough of these things that could really get them started on something. And they'll probably still have to go back to Shield Wolf and buy more to flesh out an army. But if somebody wanted kind of a female-themed army, they could be, it could be human or elf, I think would be good matches. Probably could be something like warriors. I thought this would give them a good head start for it. And if I were going to get an award, I'd rather have the chance of getting something a lot like this rather than just a single miniature. For the most epic grudge match, this is again left to my subjective opinion because I'm the tournament organizer and it's good to be king. But we have at least 4 grudge matches going on. I'll be meandering around watching them. I think I'm going to set all those 4 games up right next to my table. And whichever one I feel is the most epic is going to get these 2 miniatures from Hidden Dreams, the Shapeshifter on the left and their Lord of Fightin' on the right. They're new in box, unpainted of course, and they can decide which player gets which of these models. Now, Best in Race awards are the next thing. And this is an award that I think is just fantastic because sometimes you're doing pretty well in a tournament, but you don't think you're going to win it. It always gives you something to hope for and to strive for when you think you can do the best out of anybody playing that race. So what we decided to do was to, and this was Shannon Powell helped me out with this. Actually, his idea, I think. No, it was both of our ideas. Anyway, we've got these small little 2-inch plinths. Bottom, Shannon stained them and had these stickers made and put on there. And then I reached out to a bunch of people and asked them if they would contribute a model and paint it. And then we magnetized the model to the top of this plinth. So you can use the model in your games if you want to play with your trophies, which I think is really cool, or you can keep it as a little trophy. So Dark Bunny Creatives painted the Vampire Covenant, Vermin Swarm, and the Kingdom of Equitane for us. I reached out to Materum. Check out his YouTube channel if you haven't. He does a lot of really cool narrative things on his channel, campaigns and such. He painted the dwarfs and the infernal dwarfs for us. Mr. Owl from the forum, he's our head of legal. At least he used to be. I'm pretty sure he still is. He did our Dread Elves, Orcs and Goblins, and our Empire of Sonstal. Ben Mitchell is a fantastic painter. He did our Highborn Elves and our Saurian Ancients. Melissa Powell, the wife of Shannon Powell, she has MGM Painting. She is an unbelievable painter. Go check out MGM Painting for some more eye candy. She contributed an ogre model. And then I went into this knowing I needed to paint a bunch because I didn't want to ask other people to do stuff I wasn't willing to do. So I did the warriors, the demons, the beast herds, the Undying Dynasties, and the Sylvan Elves. So the idea behind this was just to give something that we thought would be a cool award to receive and something that people would really be excited about. So that's it. I mean, that's most of the thoughts behind the tournament. What I'm trying to accomplish here is to get people excited about awards, just a lot of different awards that are available to people, and make more of them a little more hobby related. And of course, not just focus on who wins the tournament. So yeah, I'll be posting some more videos about Southern Assault. If anybody is interested in signing up, check out the thread on the 9th Age under tournaments. Southern Assault's pretty easy to find. And yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.